Chance for welcome back to the R.A.P podcast. I'm your host, Mike Knight. This is my my good compatriot in comedy, Joey Fernandez. We're gonna get to the intros and everything, but we started getting real deep into our conversation. I want to start the episode before we get too far up, but he's gonna talk about himself. But
do I wave here?
Yeah. That's your camera. Okay, flip wherever you want.
Mike, you straight from the south side. Mike, I'm just so happy to be here right now. Real Rap podcast.
Or whatever it is. And just that they have to be gone for like a year or 2 years from their family and stuff. And it's it's crazy because it's like, my girlfriend gets mad if I'm gone for a night, you know? So I can't imagine if I were an astronaut. Like, you really have to have that talk of like, I'm not going to fuck my fellow astronaut, and you're not going to fuck anyone on Earth.
You have to be the top 1% of the top 1% in everything you've ever done since you're 6 years old to even be considered.
To go to space. And
to even be considered. And then still, chances are you're not going to make it. Then you go through all those trials, physical, mental. You get on the roster or whatever, go through all the training. You're away from family, like you said. You do all that. And there was a young lady, and oh my God, I can't remember her name, but she did all of that and then strapped on a diaper and drove across 6 states to try and smack her boyfriend's side piece with a hammer.
Wait, what? An astronaut did that?
You don't remember this chick?
No,
I had her name committed to memory, and now
this was a news story.
I want to punch myself. This is actual facts. I'm not pulling this out of my.
No, I know, but
of course it's a news story.
I just
she put on a diaper and drove across like 3 states in order to out of jealousy
without getting. But see, you have to change the diaper at some point. There's no way. That'd be pretty. That means she'd be full of shit and piss while she's trying to attack someone with a hammer.
The fact that you're rationalizing it.
That's a real story. This feels like a thing where
real story. That is. It's not on Us Weekly. This is you pull it up on Google.
I was gonna say,
and it's gonna be the reputable.
I'm gonna look up like
site.
Shit, piss, diaper, 3 states, astronaut, and it's gonna be the weirdest porn.
But to consider all the things you have to go through to be an astronaut, and then that's to know that it still gets overridden by human emotions.
Oh yeah, no, I mean
mind-boggling.
Also, it's same thing with like Navy SEALs, where it's like, why is this your goal? Because like the training is insane, dude.
It's absolutely
like they have to tread water for like I don't know how I forget how long it is, but like
have to drown.
Yeah, no, and like. I think they make them like sign a waiver where it's like you may die during training or something like that. I thought it was something insane where like they put you through the worst shit, and also you have to be like an Ivy League
waiver if you join a jiu-jitsu gym.
Oh really? I didn't even know that happens at jiu-jitsu gyms. So like, but you have to also be like Ivy League smart to do it. So you're super smart,
well-equipped,
super strong, and it's like there's so many other fields you could go into. So it's just crazy that people are that willing to be like,
aren't they going after the same jazz that we get being on stage?
I guess, but
comedy,
their
threshold is so much higher.
I mean, hopefully they get paid well and not just 2 free drinks.
I think they're probably on a regular government salary.
They have to get paid at least 6 figures. And in like the lower, I mean,
you think
like
they're making 6 figures, and the president of the United States' salary is $300,000 a year.
I don't know, but just the stuff they have to go through and do, it's like, how could you not make? Because then otherwise, if you're that smart and strong, it's like you could do so many other things.
That's a very specific task that you're doing, though, and it calls for a very specific mindset and.
And you have to be okay with killing someone and stuff, so that's another level of like...
The people that do that want to be there.
That's the thing. They get the thrill out of it. I see what you're saying with the stand-up stuff.
The pay is like, pay me because I have to like eat in a house for my old lady and all that. But I'm pretty sure... My pop's job in the military, he was in intelligence. He was in the Air Force as well. And he was in intelligence, Russian linguist, flew on a plane, was in every conflict that in my lifetime, if something was going on, he was gone for 8 months, a year and a half, and doing things that he can never really talk about.
Yeah.
And like I have problems with planes now. Like I get on them, of course, but it's like, whoa. And he's doing it under threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people actively
Trying
don't
to
want
yeah.
him to be doing what he's doing where he's doing it at.
Does he like the movie Top Gun? Does he say if it's just kind of...
Oh, yeah. How can you not?
I know, but I wonder if it's one of those things, because anytime I see a movie or show about comedy, I'm like, they are not getting this right at all.
They're not.
So that's why I wonder if he's like that serious about Top Gun, where he's like, they're fucking up our story.
I don't know if he picks it apart. He probably does. I can't think of anything specific, but I mean, I do that now with like what is it, Enemy of the State with Will Smith.
I love that movie though, with Gene Hackman and Will Smith.
Yeah.
And how much of it's not actually accurate?
The whole, hey, tap into Satellite X and follow this man walking up the street. You're better off with a helicopter, bro.
Oh, okay.
Because again, like the planets move and satellites are moving. In the course of a minute, a satellite's already moved a few thousand miles in the sky. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that movie does rock.
Staying
though.
on Will Smith's back pockets. But yeah, you do that with any movie.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, boo. What comedy movie has nailed it? I didn't see the Adam Sandler one.
I didn't like that one. I was like so bored during it. The
I
Funny
didn't see
People
it, yeah.
one. Yeah, and I've only seen maybe like a very small bit of Crashing and couldn't get into it. And I think it just is all like everyone's like, watch Miss Maisel, watch Hacks. I'm like, I just know I won't like it. I know that like it'll be that same thing of like, because someone even told me about a scene where she bombs and doesn't do well, and she's like, but I never bomb, and she's like, new to stand up, and it's like, see, dude, no, even the dumbest person is aware that if you do stand up, it's probably going to not go well occasionally. Like,
yeah, of course.
It wouldn't be shocking on that level to bomb.
Well, even Louis C.K. said it like, hey, I still bomb, but my bomb is at a higher level than like an open micer.
Right. You know what's funny? I one time hosted for Dave Attell, and he crushed, and I remember being like, that was great. And he's like, the laughs just didn't roll, though. And I'm like, oh, this is insane. Like, your level of bomb is that the laughter didn't last long enough, or there wasn't an applause break. When your standards are that high, that's crazy to think about. That it's like, okay, it's not just not getting a laugh. It's like the laugh wasn't big enough. Which I guess because they have their own following, people are going to like give them a little. So maybe they kind of are like in their head like, oh, that was like grace laughter. They like me, so they laughed.
Yeah.
But I know when jokes are actually crushing versus fans of me are laughing at anything I say. Kind of.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Kobe Bryant was pissed off at every shot he missed.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Dude.
I don't like dramatization of comedy.
Yeah.
But I'll watch every comedy documentary ever about anybody. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Like The Aristocrats. I could watch that over and over
again.
I
did see that. I think now in like older age, I just can't. I don't watch stand up. I don't anything like comedy related. I don't watch. So it's not even I guess shows about comedy, but like very rarely will I watch a special. Even like I don't know. I always like dramatic shit. So like I don't know if it's just being around it so much.
Yeah.
Because other comics are obsessed with comedy to the point they'll watch stuff even in their spare time. And I'm like, anytime I'm away from a show or a mic, I'm like, I'm good.
I'm not as dialed in as I used to be. I still will try and watch. I mean, of course, your phone gives you clips nonstop.
Dude,
but
sucks.
like a whole hour of anything is hard to do anymore. Unless it's this chopped up single serving that you get from your phone of whatever that just keeps giving you level 9 through 10 excitement over and over and over again. But to watch the peaks and valleys of somebody's entire set is like, but then you have somebody come across that's like, so when it's Netflix, I'll skip right past you. I don't like your thumbnail or whatever. Maybe it's somebody I know. Okay, I'll check that out. But then Shane Gillis puts out his special on YouTube and you watch it. Hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's like, with minimal effort. I think he even has like his own, like a podcast with him, and I think it's Matt McClusker or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know he has one. It's funny because I also don't listen to podcasts really, except news ones I'll listen to. So it's very funny that I stay away from comedy again there.
I listen to informative podcasts, but every now and then there's a few like comedy-based ones, but not really. I don't watch like the comedian ones, but no, but even his, like, everything he does is so minimal. I think that's also a part of his charm.
Yeah, yeah. But it is funny though, because obviously people are like huge stand-up fans because like his thing was #1 for a while, and like Stavros was, Beth Stelling, like I can't remember her name now. Why can't Taylor Tomlinson? Why am I fucking up? I feel like but it is her name.
Yeah.
But like all stand-up specials are in like the top 3 when they debut. So people obviously love stand-up to a level that I don't fully understand.
People or their following, because they have hell of a following.
But that's what I mean. It's like crazy to me because I'm like, it's just weird to me with how hard it is to get people to go to stand-up shows that they're that obsessed with certain people, though. Because you know what I mean? Like, you do an independent show, and there's, like, 5 people there. So, obviously, like, I mean, I guess that's with anything. Like, you know, I'm sure bands performed it. But, like, if you go to Elbow Room or something in Chicago, you go to indie music venues, tons of people will go just to try a new band out. But comedy is not like that. No one's like, I'm going to go check out this new comedy show.
Well, you have to keep your brain running for comedy.
Yeah, that's true.
Turn it right the hell off from
people
music.
can like talk during music and stuff like that. You don't have to be so focused.
You know how many songs I know by heart from the late 90s, early 2000s, and I might just now be figuring out what the hell they're talking about. You know?
Wait, how much music?
Yeah, there's plenty of songs that I'll pay attention to the actual words and meaning of the song years later. But I know the whole song. It just gets embedded.
Oh, that you don't
somewhere.
even think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's just it goes into your soul, and if you feel like putting it in your brain, go for it. But you can't just come out and listen to the sounds of comedy. You know?
No, right? Yeah.
Like, you have to be an active participant.
That's true. That it's like it's not just the rhythms. It is funny though because sometimes I'll watch some comics where it's just like the joke written sucks, but because they figured out a way to just the science of the punchline and the energy that it's like what they said didn't really make sense, but they just sold it so well. The audience is like, yeah, this feels like where we should laugh. You know, it's like really interesting.
Yeah. There's a few comics that really got that dialed in. You could hit the mute button on Bernie Mac, and laugh.
Yeah.
Just watching the way he's maneuvering it. If you didn't understand English and you watched one of Gallagher's old things,
you see someone smashing a watermelon.
Yeah, and just running around, bouncing on a humongous couch.
That is true. That
a
smashing
trampoline
a
built
watermelon
into
is universal language.
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of hard to misinterpret that bit.
Primal emotion, laughter.
Yeah,
and it's violent if you're ripping an emotion out. You're forcing somebody to feel something.
That's just so fun. Just maybe that's why he smashed watermelons, so he could have international appeal. Just that he's like, I bet people in China will get this.
How long? I bet it started off as like an apple,
well, also
or
that
a tangerine, and he just kept bombing, and he smashed it on the ground one day, and everybody's like, "Hey,
dude, it is crazy now to think about because you know you normally try and figure out the words and stuff, and this guy's like, I'm just gonna use a mallet on a watermelon. It's just like there's no like sitting and writing and figuring that bit out. It's just kind of I kind of want to now look up what made Gallagher smash a watermelon. And actually, now I think about it, I don't think I've ever like seen his full stand up. I just know that
he's
he
heady.
Was, like,
actually, he's kind of heady. He's not doing "Take My Wife, Please" stuff. He's kind of like the hypocrisy of this and that, and the inner workings of da 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 da. Like he was actually kind.
He was George Carlin with a mallet.
Basically.
I have to watch now. Because it's so funny because Howie Mandel's super popular, but I remember my buddy showing me his special from the 80s, and it was so bad, I couldn't even get through 15 minutes. And it was clearly like, there was something about it that it was like, it was the 80s, and there was part of it where it was like, I bet a lot of these people are coked up right now. And that's why this is all entertaining. Because it was insane.
You heard the legend about Richard Pryor and Robert Williams? They're in like a theater somewhere, and they just locked the doors and did Tony Montana levels of cocaine and just performed for like 6-7 hours straight.
No.
Yeah, that's a legend. Now I can't confirm it from whatever source.
Did they do
got
well?
It from.
Did they do well?
How could you?
But
how could you? How could you not?
Yeah.
You know? Especially if the audience is on uppers, downers, whatever they're into.
I feel like, I mean, an audience must just, I mean, that's the thing that's so funny because, you know, you see sometimes bigger comics who do like 3-hour shows. And if I'm an audience member, I'd just be like, I don't care how much I love the person. I'm like, after an hour and a half, I just want to get out of there. You know what I mean?
I was on the road not too long ago, and I was at the Improv in whatever city, and I was asking the producer. I was like, you know, like, hey, what's going on with the comics that have been through here? And somebody was telling me, the producer was telling me Eddie Griffin came in there and did like 4 hours. Took a piss break in the middle of it. Told the audience like, "Yo, I'll be back."
Yeah, I've seen
And
a
went to
couple.
the bathroom.
I've seen a couple comics who were so drunk they pissed themselves on stage,
That is powerful.
and that was pretty fun.
That is powerful. You know what I'm noticing a lot now though too on like on my timelines on YouTube is
I can't wait to see this connection from pants pissing to.
No, because it comes out. There's a lot of I'm getting, and it might be the stuff I'm looking up. I don't know. That's like this person's career is over. This comedian is canceled. No more da da da. And when you said pants pissing, I'm thinking of I just saw one about the Machine.
Bert Kreischer?
Yeah. And like one of the clips was, I guess he was in like an auditorium. He was in like the Australian whatever. It was some big ass
Like
theater.
the Opera House or something. Yeah.
And apparently took a nice chunky doo doo in his pants and then wiped it with his shirt. And he's holding it up to the audience. Mind you, it's a theater, so there's a jumbotron behind him. So in case you're in the nosebleeds, 45-foot representation of him on the TV screen.
Was this a bit or his accident?
He has bits.
Well, like, but did he? Man, that's great. I mean,
Does it not line up from? I bless his heart. All the money and success to him. Not my particular brand.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I know mine. I have very niche comic. Like Mitch Hedberg's one of my favorites.
Okay, yeah.
And I love Shane Gillis too for that very
Yeah.
reason. That like you're right, he has a charm. But I feel like he's one of those guys that like does dark comedy, but you can tell he's aware. He's not just saying stuff that's fucked up to say it. There's so many guys who'll just say a fucked up joke. There's no deeper point. They're not being like, they just say edgy shit to say it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, okay, so you just are doing a wordplay Holocaust rape joke?
Exactly.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, Shane's like educated debauchery. He knows where the line is, and he just keeps tingling around with it.
He has that bit about like his girlfriend used to date a Navy SEAL, and so then he goes off for like 5 minutes shitting on Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
But clearly the joke is shitting on them because his ex-girlfriend dated one. But then also he does have a good point where he's like, when I watch war videos, I relate more to the ISIS guys because they're like happy they at least got one.
Yeah.
Whereas like a helicopter for a Marine will shoot down like 30 people and be like clear.
Yeah.
And it's like it is true too, where he's like, oh yeah, that is kind of fucked up to just.
That can be a tough game to play because you have to set it up right, or the audience is gonna hate you.
Oh yeah. You have to let them know you're not like pro ISIS or whatever.
But you also have to do it in the spirit of your performing, right?
Yeah.
So there's a melody to it that you have to play correctly. If you come in off key, you're gonna fuck it up. I know from from doing it myself.
Yeah.
But I mean, you take it like Louis C.K. had that one bit where he was like, the servicemen and women love him. Thank you for your service and all that. And I fly first class because I'm better than everybody in here. And I see him get on the plane all the time, and I want to give him my seat. I just don't. But it feels good to know that I thought of it.
That I thought of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not heard that. No. Yeah. I mean, it's God, dude. When I see people who have the money for a private jet, I'm just like, God damn, that looks really nice.
Yeah.
I fly Southwest, and it sucks. I do it because it's 2 free bags, but man, that cattle call of like, all right, groups A1 through 30, and then it's like you're just looking for any window or aisle seat. It's just not assigned seating.
I don't understand I wish I was the type of person that was comfortable enough with life and just how everything was going to play out that I could fight another person on a Spirit Airlines flight.
I never do Spirit because it's like it's cheap, but then it's like they charge you for checked bags. So
any plane, like who has the brass to say, you know what? Fuck karma. I'm gonna go ahead and punch this other guy.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or
like,
fight the flight attendant or do any of that shit. That's
I'm
like
scared
insane.
of intrusive thoughts when I'm on the plane.
Yeah.
Like, no. I'm not messing with this. Like, let's.
That's funny that reveals that you see a therapist because you know about that shit. You know
What, intrusive thoughts?
Yeah.
I've only seen like a dedicated therapist like in school when I used to be a.
Oh, so you
I
don't
used
see
to be
one
a
now?
Miscreant. No.
Oh shit. Okay.
No. Yeah.
I feel like the only people who know about it are anyone who's been to a therapist.
intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
I thought that was the reason that we know each other.
That we both have intrusive. No, it is so funny.
That
because
we talk about them on stage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. I was gonna say because like we know each other through poker, and I'm like, oh shit, you know. I mean, obviously through comedy too, but like,
Sure, yeah.
I feel like it'd be weird if Greg Bartusiak was like, yeah, you know, I was in the Air Force. I'd be like, wait, what? When did that happen?
Yeah. It's not in the context of what we're doing right here. Don't tell me about your personal life.
No, I know. When we
Yeah,
play
yeah,
poker,
yeah.
dude, it's just kind of like, you know, we have like our comics
It's
game.
the guys.
Dude, it's so fun though.
It
I
is
love those nights. And
beyond
I have
fun.
not been to one in a long time.
It's been a while, for sure.
I love how fun it is though. The only problem is like when everyone gets drunk and then it takes like 10 minutes for a hand.
After a while, it definitely it's mind-boggling to me that all right, so that's gambling, right? But you're with the guys and everybody. I don't think anybody's hasn't been able to pay the rent after one of our poker nights.
No, yeah.
But that's a real addiction for a lot of people. Actually, probably some of the people we play poker
No,
with.
I mean I am, but it's the one thing that's nice about not having a lot of money is that it's like I can't even go to the casino with enough money to play. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's like it's just
But that's what I'm asking about. Like, you don't even in 2024, you don't have to go to the casino. You reach your hand into your pocket and spend your entire
on sports.
car insurance allotment because it's in your. You don't have to prepare. You don't have to put on shoes. It's a snowy day. All right.
Yeah.
I'll gamble.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm an addict, and my phone is my dealer.
Yeah, and I don't do DraftKings or I forget the other one now. But
I can't.
But I know that if I started, I wouldn't stop, which is kind of the reason I never did cocaine or heroin because I'm like,
it's awesome. I know it is. I've heard the story.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been around.
That said, mushrooms and acid, solid.
Yeah.
But they're not. I also don't get. I mean, like I haven't done either of those things since probably like August or September because it's not.
I thought you were gonna.
What is that? Is that too recent?
That's basically the same as I haven't done any of those things since like 8, 9, 30.
Well, but I mean more like you know how like cocaine is like an everyday thing for people. It's like you know, booze is an everyday thing.
Yeah.
Mushrooms and acid aren't because it's like first of all, it's a full day. Like you legit have to block off your day for it, which is why in the summertime I'll like go to the beach, get there at like noon, so I can just start to come down at like 6 or 7.
And just trip balls.
Yeah. And it's the best at the beach. Yeah.
Look at every grain of sand. I haven't crossed over into the mushroom side just yet.
So you just do acid?
I'm open. I've never done acid.
Oh, you haven't done either hallucinogens? Okay.
I haven't strayed outside of the occasional. What kind of pill is that? And like weed.
Yeah,
and alcohol. I was alcoholic, full blown. But
yeah.
That's
the thing. I don't think alcohol's the one I don't know if I'll ever be able to like kick.
But see, the way I was with alcohol, that's what a true gambler is with gambling. And I used to have, I have to go get alcohol. So depending on where you are, there's last call, the whatever store closes, you're stuck with whatever. But if my phone
had booze,
every morning just popped out a liter of whatever, I'm fucked.
Yeah. How long have you been sober for?
5 years, 5.5.
Damn,
like that.
dude, really?
Yeah.
Isn't that hard at bars though?
Nah.
No? God damn, I don't know how people do it because it's like it's so part of our social fabric. I was saying to someone that like, because I quit smoking cigarettes and they're like that. They say that's harder than alcohol, and I'm like, no, because like,
to me.
Really? Because I think like alcohol's, it's like when you go to someone's Super Bowl party, you're not going there to chain smoke. You're going,
Yeah.
Or if you go to a bar, alcohol is what they're selling, not cigarettes.
Yeah.
So like, I also have that. It's weird that I also have a guilt thing of going to a bar and not buying anything or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, buying a Diet Coke or something. But
it's definitely it's super manageable. That first year is really awkward. First month is awkward, of course, because you're recalibrating your brain. first year is awkward because it's hard to navigate the social settings. But then after that, I don't think about it or consider it. Other people take into account more than I do. But at this point now, it would be just as awkward for me to have a drink, get drunk, as it would be for somebody who has no problem drinking to just stop all of a sudden. Like I'm 5 years and some change in, so now there's no
even
barrier to entry or whatever. I'm you know our job. I'm in bars nonstop.
I know, dude, and that's the other thing I have with like free drinks or whatever, where it's like, well, I gotta drink if it's free. You know what I mean? Like, it's
now
weird.
I'm the cool guy that gets to bestow drink tickets upon whoever I choose.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just that
you
furthering.
have been awarded.
Yeah, that's what furthers my problem. Is I get 2 drink tickets, and then someone who's sober is like, "You want mine?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, of course." You know?
Yeah, hell yeah. No, I had the don't stop. Like it's not social in any way for me. Like. You would see me drinking socially because I just happen to be in a social area. But Tuesday, 1:30 a.m. by myself, plastic half pint of vodka to the
at
face.
home,
but alone. Like I wasn't doing it for. I wasn't doing it to be social.
Yeah,
I was doing it because it's like, get rid of that. All
See,
right,
that's so interesting because I've never done it for. It's more just like. When I don't drink when I'm home.
Yeah.
Like, the only time I drink is out at a bar, generally with comedy. Like I don't, half the time we play poker, I don't even drink.
Yeah, that is fascinating to me. I don't even understand how your brain's wired. I don't drink now, and I still can't comprehend somebody like you who's like, yeah, I can have like 2 at a
no, I don't know, not 2. That's
whatever.
the thing is once I start, I go full blown all the way.
Okay, yeah. Once I start,
because I don't think there's
I go for.
That's why I don't understand.
Years.
I'm like, why would you have just a couple PBRs or even a couple
I don't
craft beers? It's like, so you like the taste of this or what? You know what I mean?
Mind. Yeah.
No, when I
go
didn't
out, do it for the flavor. I did it for the feeling.
Exactly, and it's not even the feeling so much. It's just like everyone else is doing it, and then It's weird that it's just more like, well. Everyone else is going to be fucked up, and this is going to be really annoying if I'm sober around all this, too.
Yeah.
I don't know how people who are sober at bars are able to be out till midnight or 1 with their friends when it's like, when they get fucked up. The thing that I have, too, is that when I get drunk, people say, like, oh, I couldn't tell you were that fucked up. And I'm like, that's also weird that people can't tell. When I've done, like, the Power Hour open mic, drinker, I mean, I think it was Courtney Alberts who was like, yeah, you kind of didn't seem that different. And I'm like, that's crazy to have, like, 8 or 9 beers in the span of,
Your tolerance is up there. I'll tell you what.
But I feel drunk. It's just people can't tell.
Yeah. No, like there's a certain level of when the tribal part takes over, when there's a bunch of people drinking, and you
just are like, fuck it, I'll do it too. Yeah.
Or like if you're in my case, when the tribal when that music starts playing in the background, it's time for me to go because I have absolutely no connectivity with that world anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody that's getting completely shit-faced trashed, they've all signed the I'm not completely in charge of my own actions waiver.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, all right, 1, I'm way too responsible feeling right now, and 2, I can't. It's bumming me out that you're screaming a secret in my face.
I know,
and spitting on my nostrils. Like I'm not in the same level you're at.
People
right now.
who are bad drunks are so annoying. Yeah, because they talk loud in your face. And, like, don't let you get a word out because they have a thought. And then also, like, I mean, just uncomfortable personal space stuff where it's just like, there's so much stuff bad drunks do that it's like, how have you not quit? Because obviously there's no, and then, if you get that apology message, like, sorry, I was so fucked up, what happened? It's like, if this is what you do when you're blackout, why are you still drinking?
Well, that's the perfect thing about drinking, right? Is that that just sketches that every night, unless somebody shows you a full-blown video of your entire night for you to go, oh. Ooh.
But then if you black out and don't remember things, what's the point of that either? And if then people are pissed at you the next day, it's like, what fun are you getting out of this?
I just push right through it. I drink those memories away too.
Oh, really?
Oh, everybody's mad at me? All right.
No, it's crazy to me. It's just, I can't believe. And like it's so weird though because like I like doing shots, but that's just like a momentary. That's another communal thing where it's like, all right, let's just do a shot. But like, talk about it's like you could pay like $6 or $7 for a shot, and all it is doing that.
Yeah.
And it's like so bizarre that that's just a thing, literally a second worth. But because it's a communal thing to do, like let's all do shots. For some reason, you're willing to do that.
So if we were back in my drinking days, if we were all me, you, a handful of other people, we're all going out to the bar to just go. It's get trash day, right?
Yeah.
Before I get to the bar with you guys, I'm already 2 drinks in.
Oh, see, okay, interesting, yeah.
Like I have to go.
You pregame basically
just to get up to, and I'm pre-gaming by myself. I'm not pre-gaming so that my best of DMX album hits harder on the way.
yeah.
I'm pre-gaming because I'm like, oh, I gotta go be around people. Let me put fun mic on, and this will help me do it. Boom, boom, and then I get there, and then we get trash, and then it's the end of the night. It's 3, 4 in the morning. And it's all time to peace out. I'm gonna go home. This is a Thursday. I probably have to go to work the next day, and I'm like, oh, my head's banging. Let me go ahead and get like an easy drink at the house just to ease myself into bed, so I can just completely.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I have sleep issues too. That sucks.
Yeah.
Like in booze, you can use it to fall asleep, but then you don't get good sleep, and then you're waking up at 6 hungover, and you're having a piss. You got dry mouth, then you can't fall back asleep, and Yeah, I mean, there are definitely the drawbacks of that.
You get like the DTs, like I think a lot of heroin addicts talk about it. It's after a certain while, you're just feeding the baseline.
Yeah,
because coming down is horrible.
No, dude, I mean that's the biggest drawback for me with alcohol is just the next day.
Oh yeah.
And it's not even like not able. It's more like I just feel fuzzy and depressed. So it's like it's hard to focus on anything. It's hard to get any work done. Like
Yeah.
When you get super fucked up, it's like, holy shit. It takes me at least till about like 6 o'clock at night to start feeling, and even sometimes then not,
Now imagine all of these feelings and all this social nuance and hazards and pitfalls, and relegate that to gambling. A person that has the same thing I had with alcohol, but it's gambling and it's in their phone, is mind-boggling.
Yeah. Although they're not doing it for social anxiety reasons. That's more like that thrill, that excitement thing, And so that it just, I feel like it's one of those things that it just makes what would be a boring game, like, Panthers versus, I'm trying to think of who's like Panthers versus Chiefs. It's like, who's going to win that game.
Yeah.
But what makes it interesting? If I bet on it. And so it just like gives a temporary thrill, and the dopamine hit of winning is what keeps people going,
But also the fact that you're not going to win. That's the reason it's a humongous industry. It's designed for you to lose. So to still, I feel sorry for anybody that has like food issues. And there's a McDonald's a block down the street from you. Like, you're not going to win. I know what you're getting out of it.
I definitely comfort eat, dude. I do that all the time, yeah.
Oof. Yeah. I can get on a roll. Like, I can get it. There's certain times where I'm eating and I'm like, I'm doing this purely for...
Just to do something.
Because I want to eat this food. I want the taste of this food in my mouth right now.
Well, even if I'm like just watching TV, I'm like, well, I should do something with this. So I'll just eat.
Feel guilty.
Well, no, I mean, it's more just like something... Because I'm just like, I'm kind of bored and I'm just watching TV.
Oh, yeah. That's the worst.
This is a thing to do. It's just eating.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the back of your brain, you're like, why are you? I don't.
Yeah, I'm not even hungry. I mean, it's just kind of like, I'm doing this, but it's weird because it's like, well, why am I watching this thing if it's making me bored too or whatever? But you just need something to do. That's the thing. Like, if you have racing thoughts and shit, like, I can't fall asleep at night without something on. Yeah. I can't even imagine the idea of like just turning the lights off and trying to fall asleep. I'm like, well, I'm going to be up till 6 a.m.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there is no falling asleep if...
Well, the moment we didn't have to worry about where we're going to get food the next day, left a lot of leisure time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's also
like
weird.
If we had to go catch an antelope tomorrow morning, I don't think we would be so bored. We would be strategizing.
Well, and then
right
also
now.
You're exerting energy, actually. That's the other thing. Is like, I probably am more tired if I do work out during the day and stuff like that.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. The prospect of not starving, I think, is definitely a high motivator.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why the intermittent fasting thing kind
Mm-hmm.
of makes sense because it's like, yeah, your body probably did go a couple days without food, so
Yeah.
probably you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I liked doing intermittent fasting when I did it, and I was in great shape. But my doctor said because I lost like 7 pounds in 7 days, and he's like, "Oh, that's not normal. You know that, right?" And I was like, "Oh, I thought I was being healthy." And he's like, "No. You can't just go a day without eating or whatever." I don't know.
Sure.
I guess whatever I was doing must have been horribly unhealthy because it was him. And at the time, I actually had money, so I was like seeing a personal
got
trainer
you.
too. And he was like, "Yeah, dude, you can't just drop 7 pounds in 7 days. That's not a healthy way to do it." So
I usually like keeping an 8-hour window.
that it's like the 8-hour windows when you can eat in 16 hours off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I've been doing it for a while now, so it just kind of feels normal. I definitely like fuck off plenty of times, but I'll go through cycles where I like being like in shape and hitting the gym on a regular basis, you know, if I have the time for it, and then I'll just take 5-6 months off, and I have no idea how long I can keep that up because when you take off it's like 3 weeks being off stage. You're all rusty. Your bits don't go together. You forgot hella tags. I take off a week and a half from the gym, and I'm just why?
Dude, I know. I need to get back in. I keep like having these stops and starts where I'll go in like 3 times in a week and then just something happens. You either get sick or like you're out of town. You have, you know what I mean? Like life really does make it hard to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Because it's just you need, basically for me, it's like you need that 15 minutes to drive to the gym, an hour and a half-ish to do it, and then 15 minutes back. Plus you got to shower and all. You know what I mean? Like it's just like you think about everything that goes into going to the gym, and it's like, damn, dude, that's basically like 2 hours that I have to commit every day if I want to do it.
Yeah, but it does like feel good. It feels like an earned feel good.
No, when you eat, you actually earn that food too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Because then it's like you think about what, like, you know, Olympic swimmers, like Michael Phelps's food. It was like an ass load of food, and some of it wasn't healthy or whatever. He probably could have a burger, and it's not going to affect anything because he's just getting calories, you know?
Yeah. He's just feeding himself. Like that's got to be mind altering too, because if you watch almost any sport right now, professional level sport, a majority of the people that I'm watching on TV are younger than me.
I know. I
By
find that
a
isn't that weird
large
too. I
margin.
think of them as older than me,
And
even
I
if they're,
still
like,
look at them in like a not look up to them, but I still look at them the same way I was looking at them when I was a little kid watching sports.
Yeah, I know.
Like that's a grown up.
I'm like that even with college athletes too.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I think it's just because they're on TV and they're also dealing with an insane amount of pressure that we haven't ever had to deal with.
Pressure, money, scrutiny, and depending on what there is, like it might have a sad ending.
Yeah.
to the whole thing.
No, but I mean, there's just so much that weight on their shoulders that it's like, oh, it feels like they're older than me too because, you know. But then it's also that thing of like you have friends who you grew up with, and then it's like weird they get married and have a kid, and you're like, oh, I still see you as like a high schooler, kind of, you know.
I have plenty of like people that, you know, not in comedy, and I see them, and when we interact, and I get a feel for their personality, and I'm like, what kind of parent are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how are you? Like, I know you through our personal not you, but I know the person through our personal interaction. And I'm like, you're a goof.
No, and even I have a couple friends who are teachers, and it is weird where like he would say how on Thursdays he would show like the videos, whatever, you know, let's watch this video because Wednesday night he had his darts league and he'd get fucked up. And it's like, oh, those things that you didn't realize, you know, teachers you just thought were responsible adults the whole time. And it's like, oh, there are probably days that I had a teacher who was hungover as fuck and I didn't know.
Of course. I've done the math. Every once in a blue, I'll do the math and rewind my brain and think, how old was I when my mom was like my age or even younger? And it's like, whoa.
Dude, I know. Well, and like LeBron James is my age, basically. That depresses me all the time when I think about that. I'm like, holy shit, this guy has lived a life. Like,
Yeah. Well, they say I heard, this is one of my favorite quotes. It's from Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's a retired MMA fighter.
Oh, he's the one who got into the fight with McGregor, right?
He
That
was.
they had that
he
big
was.
thing, yeah.
And I saw a clip of him. I thought this was genius. But somebody asked him, like, hey, what do you want to do? Like, what's the meaning of life or whatever like that? And he was like, make a lot of money and then tell people money isn't everything.
Which it is true. That's what always, yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
during the pandemic was when I was actually financially the most stable. And it
Yeah.
was like having that weight of not living paycheck to paycheck or whatever, or having to save up for something. It's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like the level of happiness you get from just not worrying about how am I going to make money this month or how am I going to.
But then when that becomes your baseline, because your baseline right now, and I don't know your financial situation, your job, your bank account, none of that, your baseline right now is heads and feet above a majority of the planet.
No, I know, which is crazy to me too, where I'm just like, all right, man.
But there's somebody happy in an aluminum shanty somewhere on the side of whatever hill at the bottom of a volcano that's going to erupt like next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And they're as happy as a clam. They're cooking something right now that has fur and probably rabies, and you couldn't tell them nothing. They're happy.
Yeah, no, there's folks who live in Petra in Jordan, that like kind of whatever carved out rock thing. But like it's just crazy to me to just like, all right, I live in a cave. I don't know where they even get food from. I mean, they must, I don't know, but they like
Highly
cook shit on a.
adaptable.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy that there's some, and like, the folks who also just live remote, they're like in a small ass town. They just want to be alone. And I'm like, wow, I could never, like people in Alaska, they have to order food like for 6 months during the winter. So they have to order enough food so that way when the snow buries them, they're not, you know what I mean? Like it's truly crazy that there are people who want to just live
And
this
choose to
weird
live out
remote.
there. Yeah, like where what was he said in the Matrix movie? Where like a disease or whatever. We really will just go somewhere and then just multiply. And
Oh
take
yeah,
over.
yeah.
Like it doesn't like the most awkward places on anywhere. As big as Canada is, isn't it only like 30 something odd million people up there?
Yeah, I mean, I forget this. I don't know the specific numbers, but yeah, that sounds about
I
right.
feel like it's like 33 million.
Because I mean, who
people.
lives in the Yukon territory in that North ass by Alaska?
Not a drop.
Yeah,
Not a drop. But who wants to live there at all in general?
and that's the thing. There are people who do though.
Yeah.
They just want to get as far away from civilization as possible, and it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that does sound nice, just being off the grid, but it's like that level of loneliness you must get. But then some people embrace that. So
I just want everything exactly how I picture it in my mind. Like the right amount of people at the right time saying the right things.
Yeah.
And disagree with me, but only because eventually they will agree with me because whatever I said was so profound. They go, "Oh, you were right the entire time."
you want to live in a small town where everyone agrees with you?
No, you missed the point. I want them to disagree with me.
Oh, I thought you said agree, and I was like,
Yes, no, you're missing it. I want them to disagree with me until I make my astonishing, profound point and then agree with me. I want to be the catalyst for their entire...
oh, so you want to live in a
for
town
an
full of
entire-
dipshits that then learn from you?
Yeah. In my fantasy,
I think that's what Jim Jones did.
hey, Kool-Aid is delicious. What is the mind of those people, though?
The ones who follow or the ones who do it?
The ones who I get the people who do it. I don't get it because I'm not in their mind state. But the people we were just going back to teachers are going to be hungover sometimes. There was parents there with their kids.
Oh, at the Jones,
there were
yeah.
people that were responsible for raising other people. There were people there was probably an accountant in there. There was probably like a fucking construction foreman or something. There was probably people in there in that group of people who had decent social lives.
But it's all people who are looking for a
fell in for
purpose.
that.
You know what I mean? Have you ever seen that show, The Leftovers, on HBO?
I don't think so.
It's like the best explanation for people going off the deep end because everyone wants to find the reason something happens. So the show's about how 2% of the world's population just randomly disappears. And all these cults and religions pop up and con artists who are like, I know what happened to your family member. I can communicate with.
Yeah.
So it's like, it just like, because that's what probably happens. People are disillusioned. They maybe have a bad family dynamic.
Like an allegory for the rapture or whatever.
Kind of, yeah. But it's like, it's people are just trying to find a reason for something that there's no reason. It randomly happened. And even in the opening of the second season of that show, it's like a lady, an earthquake hits and it buries her entire family. But this is like back in ancient times, you know? So it's like, yeah, if an earthquake just happened, you have no idea why. And it's random. And it's not until we come up with Richter scales and understanding like tectonic plates and all that horse shit. But you wouldn't know that as someone who's just trying to like antelope hunting.
Yeah.
So it seems like a random event of like the supernatural force until you realize it's just a thing that just happens.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of trial and error, right? Like I wonder, for all the food that we had, somebody had to be the first one.
Oh, and then gets poisoned by it, and they're like, all right, don't eat that.
People ate the wrong thing, and then...
No, I know. It was like millions of trial and error that it's like, okay, we can't eat that, we can't eat that. Oh, we have to cook this if we want to eat it.
And as arcane as that sounds, again, in our lifetime, probably somebody makes it to Mars, a lot of somebody's, and starts the whole process over.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll have laser guns and boom boxes or whatever, but, you know, like little solar rovers. But ultimately, they're going to be out there and be like, oh, didn't know that was a thing.
I'm sure you can't say anything, but do you know about any alien stuff or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Didn't talk. So I had a secret level security clearance.
Because don't they basically have admitted they are out there, right? Or no? I thought that was a thing.
I mean, what do you believe?
Well, I mean,
you believe that there's a group of people on this planet, not even just here, but anywhere on the planet, right?
No, it's
that there's a conglomerate of people that knows for factual evidence. Because the only evidence we have of aliens to this day in 2024 is Jason Voorhees footage of a corner of a hazy little piece of a. There's no actual
Jason Voorhees,
Yeah,
Friday the 13th killer.
Yeah, like how you never just see him all the way on.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You hear a sound, you see a blur. There's a shadow.
I thought you were saying really, like he has footage, and I'm like the guy from Friday the 13th.
Really, aliens are playing Michael Myers games.
Yeah.
Word. Like you're not just out in the open. I just get a blur of a.
Well,
get out of here.
I mean, that's the thing is they say statistically, us being the only life in the universe is
the Fermi paradox.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is, right? That it's like.
So.
Like us being the only life seems like very low.
If there was going to be other life, there would be a lot of it we should be able to tell. If there wasn't going to be any, it'd just be us.
Well, some of them could be life that it's like just a planet full of amoebas. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that it's like doesn't
go suck a dick. It doesn't count.
Yeah, I know. I kind of feel. But then also there's one of the theories of like if aliens are real, that they're. If anyone has seen a UFO and it's real, it's like aliens. I don't know. There's all kinds of horseshit theories, but that they are studying us to see if they can trust us, if we don't kill ourselves or whatever.
I always looked at it like this, right? There's, and I'm trying to put it for my own brain in the most elementary terms possible. If there's something out there that's powerful enough to know that we're here, it doesn't want to help us because it hasn't said anything. It doesn't want to hurt us because it hasn't done it. If there is something out there that's not powerful enough to know that we're here, then they can go fuck themselves.
It's a hell of a life philosophy.
Like they're way over there doing their own thing, trying to figure it out.
No, I mean I don't believe in any of this. I don't believe in any of it. But any of the but like it is interesting to think about the fact that like there is intelligent life out there that spots us, and they've gotten to the point past like war and hatred and stuff, and so they're seeing if we can make it past. I just think that's an interesting story. I don't think it's real, but like it is interesting to think about the fact that like because that's another thing, the Kardashev scale or whatever, where it's like type 1 civilization is like you have to get past not killing yourself, and then type 2 is harnessing the energy of. I forget if it's the sun is second or third. I don't know, but there's like basically type 1.
I think it's like the sun, then the universe.
Yes.
Or the sun, the galaxy, and the
So like, it is interesting. Just like, oh yeah, it's probably true that to succeed as a species or to get to another level of intergalactic travel, you have to not kill each other. Probably.
So I'm not discounting the chance that there's aliens, right? I think it's improbable, the stuff that we're seeing now. If you told me that some scientific guy made flying saucers, I'd probably believe that before I believe big, tall, skinny, gray things with huge black eyes are playing Freddy Krueger games.
But I thought the Air Force
videos.
admitted to stuff that instead of UFOs, they said it was something else.
They're calling them UAPs now.
Oh, is that what it is? What does that stand for?
Unidentified aerial something.
So it's not them admitting to aliens. It's just phenomenon where it's like you can't.
So tell you what, I had secret level security clearance. I had a schedule when I was working in Colorado. I was 6 days on, 4 days off. I worked 2 days, 2 swings, 2 mids. And then after I came back from my 4-day off shift, we would all sit in a room and we would get the secret level news.
Yeah.
So it's like the news the civilians gets minus X amount of BS added on and speculation. And basically, you ever seen Men in Black?
Yeah, of course.
The first one?
Yeah.
You remember there was a point in time, who was
Tommy Lee Jones?
Tommy Lee Jones. So at the end of the movie, he goes, Will's like, what if the whoever's come back and try and blow him up? And Tommy Lee's like, there's always some Kim Kardashian 6 planet that's trying to blow us up. There's always Illuminati deviant worms that are gonna blah blah blah, blah. So like, don't worry about it because it's always happening. I mean, to a degree, that's kind of the information that I was getting, is that there's always
some country trying
below
to
the surface. It's not as bad as you think, and it's not as good as you think, and there's always real players making a lot of moves and it kind of it would just make me paranoid a majority of the time because whatever.
Oddly, Men in Black has a thing about that too, where he's like, well, why don't we tell people this? He's like he's like, Tommy Lee Jones, like a person is rational. People are dumb. They're group minded. Like, I mean, when the pandemic happened, the amount of people who were fighting over toilet paper, it's like, oh right, like people when they start to panic as a collective,
and it doesn't take much. Black Friday, and let there be one PlayStation 5 left. Somebody's gonna die.
That is so
people literally on planet Earth lost their life to Popeye's chicken sandwiches.
Is that true? What was that?
When the Popeye's chicken sandwich came out, and like there's at least one person that's no longer on this planet because a delicious chicken sandwich came out.
And people were like clamoring for it, and they got.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. Okay.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I thought that made the rounds, but I mean, at a certain point, like the object is what it is. But at a certain point, you, depending on who the person is, you bruise somebody's ego or take a shot at their pride, and all bets are off.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't really have much to lose.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, all that to say this, like, there's a need to know, I think, for any level of anything. And I was never in a need to know position when it came to the aliens talk. But I would say if I had to guesstimate, I would just as soon think that there's, say, a larger dimension, right? Because dimension 1 is just a point. Dimension 2 is a square. Dimension 3 is a cube. And dimension 4 is whatever.
The whole time is not linear, or like our universes aren't linear. There's different.
Sure, or whatever. But I'm literally talking about dimensions, like a 3-dimensional object. But if you draw a square on a piece of paper, that's a 2-dimensional object,
okay.
Right? And so the dimensions after this, right? I think I want to actually say the 4th dimension. Like, so it goes from a square to a cube to a tesseract, I believe, is the 4th
hell
dimension.
Is that?
Exactly. And it's like something that you literally cannot understand. The same way as if you were to draw a square on a piece of paper and it was alive and it could talk, and you said, hey, look up here, and it would go, what? What the fuck is up?
Or like, I mean,
because there is no existence.
Like a dog doesn't understand if it's itself in the mirror or something, right? Or
kind of, but a dog lives in the same dimension we do.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But a 2-dimensional object, there is no up to understand. You can talk till you're blue in the face, but up doesn't exist to a 2-dimensional thing. And so if there's something that's living on the fourth dimension, an alien, there's no way for us to ever understand it. We can or comprehend it. We can understand there's a fourth dimension.
Yeah.
But we
The
can never
concepts,
comprehend
yeah.
what it is. So they could be out there trying to talk to us, and we're just like, huh?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Huh? I don't know.
But there is a lot of alien talk, and I think I don't get much on a lot of conspiracies, but I'll go in on the conspiracy of all this alien talk just for the simple fact that, like, I mean, what are you actually trying to get by on us? Because they've been teasing aliens for like years now and going hardcore at it for like the last year and a half.
Yeah.
I think even when Trump was president, he was teasing letting go of the Kennedy paperwork.
Yeah, that's what's so weird is that him with secrets, it's just like, man, this guy's got loose lips. Like, he even brought, what did he have in Mar-a-Lago? I forget what it was, but it was just like, holy shit. This is kind of like a big deal that you took this with you.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Like classified documents.
No, but it
or
was
whatever?
like legit. Because, some classified documents are just like what some of what Biden has was like, the president's schedule that day. Let's keep that classified. But then, like, that shit in, like, 2 years doesn't matter if it gets released. It's just, I'm sure it gets lost in the shuffle. But I think what Trump had was some kind of, like, defense against a country. And he had it at his resort. And he was showing it off to people. It's, like, the craziest shit. Like, I always have said he's like an evil Michael Scott. Where he's, like, he's dumb, but malicious,
Like, you don't really have to be book smart to be powerful in the world.
Dude, that's what I'm so shocked by. I'm like, I could never be president. It seems like it's a lot of work and it's hard and you got to vet. And then it's like, you see someone like him getting elected or the fact, I mean, even Biden being 81, it's like there have to be a lot of people doing a lot of work for you. Because 81 years old, dude, I mean.
It is awkward to see certain actions for sure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, intellectual quoting will get you so far. There's a lot of really dumb ass brainiacs.
Well, they don't have
emotional EQ is probably more valuable than IQ. If you got both, you're winning.
Yeah.
But
I know there's like a girl in my college was like the perfect example of someone who was like book smart but not like just the shit that it was like, you don't know what this is, but you have a 4.5 GPA. You know what I mean? Like, they just don't know. And then also, like, people who don't know social cues, but they know, like the Pythagorean. I mean, the Pythagorean theorem is a bad example.
Have you ever seen? It's a documentary called "Savants: The Knowing Ones."
No, it sounds interesting though.
Yeah, well, it just basically covers like savants, like it, and I guess to a degree what could be considered idiot savants. So it covers like Kim Peek, the one that they made Rain Man after.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, yeah.
That Dennis Hoffman played. So the real guy, his name was Kim Peek. They called him Computer or whatever, and he could simultaneously read 2 pages at a time. And the stuff from the movie, like he could read the phone book in one sitting, and then if he saw you on the street, he could like spit your phone number out back in the day or whatever, things of that nature. But had to live with his father because he was incapable of taking care
everyday
of
life
himself.
stuff. Yeah.
And in the documentary itself, the main person that they center on is somebody that was basically highly functional, highly capable, pretty integrated as far as communication goes. But the person, and I can't remember his name, he's in the Guinness Book of World Record. He remembered pi to the 10,000th point.
Jesus.
And he had synesthesia. So basically pi wasn't the numbers, it was a story. Like in his brain, he wasn't remembering the numbers. He was remembering like
how we'd remember like, man, there was this night where I did whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd remember that, the king took the sword and slayed the dragon, and that's like 3.14 da 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 da. Like the numbers represented a thing in his brain. But he was basically saying too, he was like, yeah, like my brain and certain people's brains operate on such a high level that there's nothing left for the other functions,
right?
Like talking to human beings or going on a date or playing video games. Like there was here's a thing that I think they studied this guy. It was black dude janitor at some point in time in his life, he's on a softball league or baseball league with his guys, his friends, takes a baseball to his head, whatever point, snaps out of his coma after however many days in the hospital. He can remember give him a date before he was born, after he was born. He'll tell you the day and the weather instantly.
Wait,
Like
that was before or after? That was after he got hit.
Like he's not gonna do the weather back in like 1640 if it wasn't being reported. But if you ask him like June 27th, 1814, he'll know the day of the week. And other than that, he was a janitor. He never was capable of anything like this.
Yeah.
Took a baseball to the noggin, and now like his memory and recollection and his cognitive ability to remember something like that was off the charts. And people were like studying him like, well, if you can do that, then how?
Well, a sad flip side of that is that there was a dude who, just a normal guy, developed a brain tumor, and it made him hypersexual. And he started getting addicted to kid porn and shit. Oof. And he got arrested. And then when he had a surgery that removed the tumor, he wasn't into it. It's like, that's always been so insane to me that the line between being a pedophile and not is just like, oh, my brain is just not wired that way. Similar to like the autism thing or whatever. It's just like, oh, I'm pretty lucky that that's not. Because when you think about it, everyone's like, dude, I'd never do that. And it's like, yeah, but if you're not attracted to kids, it's like saying like, oh man, I'd never knit a scarf. It's like, well, if you're not into it, of course you're not going to do it. Like,
I wonder though too, like what's everybody's if you happen to be privileged enough to have your regular run of the mill upbringing with not a lot of trauma, then I wonder what that equals to. Otherwise, if you ask any random MMA fighter what his background was like, might not be the most peachy story. I don't know how.
That they
I don't know how
probably
many people that went to Catholic school their entire life, both of their parents, and got a whole bunch of hugs and lollipops growing up.
No, like, I know. Yeah,
I actually want to kill another person with my bare hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean it's that old Chris Rock Weekend Update bit. I'm sure he did it stand up too, but he's like the best boxers. It goes, there's white boxers, then black boxers, then Puerto Rican. He's like, the lower you go on the socioeconomic scale, the better a fighter you are.
Sure.
And it's like, because you probably have to at some point.
Sugar Ray Leonard talked about, I don't know if it was recently or if it was a while ago, but he admitted that he was molested when he was a kid. And I mean, one of the greatest boxers of all time.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, I knew I'm never gonna step in the ring as an MMA fighter, nothing like that. And I'm not a tough guy. But once upon a time I was training like kickboxing and whatnot, and I was with my kickboxing coach, who was high level guy, all the plaques, his name was Kerpadani. It was in Omaha, Nebraska at I forget the name of the gym, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, we're in there and I'm sparring with the professor this particular day with Kerpadani. Savage, this fucking guy. And he was older at the time, he was probably late 40s. But we're going in there and he wants me to just take shots at him, kick him. So we're trading roundhouse kicks. And then after a while, he was just letting me go. He was like, kick me. All right, harder. And in the back of my brain, I was still like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I realized basically in that moment, like, this isn't for me because there's somebody else who this is their outlet. They're getting away from whatever it is, and they're gonna focus every bit of rage and you take somebody like Sean Strickland right now. That's big. He middleweight fighter. He just lost the title, but he had one of the shittiest think of Eminem, but an MMA fighter.
Okay.
And you could tell he talks about it. He focuses all of his rage and da-da-da. So how far is the leap from that? So they happened through probably random happenstance, mathematical anomaly. They found their way into the gym.
Yeah.
Or they found their way into the SEALs, or they found their way into whatever, as opposed to, I'm just going to be locked in a cabin in the woods after I graduate MIT and mail bombs to people.
Oh, I know. Yeah. No, and but have you heard the story about him because he was in the military and he got
Ted Kaczynski?
Yeah. That he got I forget what it was that they were doing as like a experiment and kind of training military folks, but they basically just like embarrassed him in front of a bunch of people and like I can't remember the specifics. I'm getting this kind of wrong, but like basically the reason they think the reason he became the Unabomber and anti-government is the way he was treated in the military when they were trying this shit out on toughening up their soldiers, whatever they did.
Yeah.
I'd have to look it up, but like, yeah.
That's a real thing. I've been to, so I did boot camp for the Air Force, right? Because I joined the military. But I was what you could consider a troubled youth in high school. And one year I got expelled and I got shipped off to Camp Pendleton, San Diego, to be a part of the Devil Pups program.
What is that?
Is like it's the Marine. Camp Pendleton is the Marine basic training base, one of them. And it was basically just a group for like troubled youth or whatever. But I was coming from like Yokota, Japan on a military base in high school, and I'm out there with like all the troubled kids from like San Diego and LA. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like we're all 16 years old, but I'm like one of the only ones that didn't have neck and face tattoos.
Yeah.
And but you go through that and you just see like it gave me an appreciation for how I was raised, because there's a lot of people out there that are full blown like, oh, you really have the odds
Stacked against you, yeah.
against you. You know what I mean? And you take into consideration, I don't remember the Columbine kids' names, right?
Oh, Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris, yeah.
There you go. It's probably, and I don't know these guys from a can of paint, but there's probably a very small degree of separation between those two guys and Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
No, well, have you seen Bowling for Columbine?
Maybe.
It's kind of crazy that you made that reference and Matt Stone, because I know they're from the same town.
Oh, they're in Colorado or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that whole, Bowling for Columbine was a documentary about gun control.
Is that
and
Michael, what's his name?
Michael Moore?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I might have saw it forever ago.
But the interview, I can't remember which one. Which one has the poofy hair? Not the blonde one.
The out of the guys, the one with the brown hair?
Yeah.
I feel like that's Matt.
That's Matt. So he interviewed him because I think I don't know if they went to Columbine, but they are from that town anyway.
Oh.
And they're interviewing him, and he basically said, he's like, dude, it's the way they're like, you're going to be a loser now. I'll be a loser forever.
Yeah.
Fuck it. And you're right. He's saying it's like if someone had just said, this isn't the end of the world. Like there's so much life to live, basically.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. You said that. And
that's well. It takes me to the. I was bringing up like the basic training because basic training is specifically designed. You were talking about like the Navy SEALs. Basic training is specifically designed to weed out weakness. And I mean, the bar is set to varying degrees depending on where you're going. The bar for a SEAL, through the roof. The bar for, whatever. And we were a bunch of troubled kids. But you see the stress and how it affects certain people. Certain people are studs. They're going to make it through or whatever. And certain people, I've watched people forget the ability to walk. Because they are trained, your drill instructors are trained to put you under stress. There's no way to get out of it. You're never going to have all the right answers. You're never going to pass every test. You're never going to, it's designed, you have to fail. They have to tear you down to build you back up.
Yeah.
That's what it's designed for, right? And, but you see people that like coordinated arm swings. They forget how to do that. Like you're marching, but it's left, right. You're marching to a cadence. You'll see some people that you never even consider it. When you walk, your left leg moves forward and your left arm moves back. That's how you keep balance
Right,
and
yeah.
not look like a jackass. Have somebody in a big only you could prevent forest fires hat yelling in your ear. You'd be shocked how many people start moving their left arm with their left leg. They lose complete control of any information.
why that hat?
That's a drill instructor's hat.
I prevent forest fires?
Yeah, Smokey the Bear, the big.
That's
brim hat.
that's a standard drill instructor hat?
Yeah. I don't remember the exact name of it, and so I decided to paint a picture.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
It's a narrative. I'm colorful in my language.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, once they start yelling at you like that, people break down considerably under stress. a vast majority of people.
No, I mean, like when I was playing sports growing up, I was like pretty good at it until 8th grade. I got invited to like a select league for baseball and basketball and got super intimidated, being like, oh, that kid's really good. That kid. And then you get the yips and suddenly like I couldn't hit, I couldn't shoot. And it's like, not to the level of boot camp, but like that was stress of like, shit, I'm no longer good at sports because I'm mentally just fucked up from the stress I'm putting on myself,
Sure.
You see it from like even, who's that dude who was the number 1 pick? I want to say Anthony Bennett. Mm-hmm. And he was like the number 1 pick. And I don't know if he even played more than a few minutes in the NBA because he was so bad. Or he only played like a season maybe or something.
I kind of remember who you're talking about, but it's not popping out. But think about every poor SOB that got the moniker Baby Jordan.
Dude, I know. I think about Sebastian Telfair.
Telfair.
Well, Telfair especially because he never did anything in the NBA.
Yeah.
And he was an 18-year-old coming up.
Yeah,
and
straight to the league.
Dude, yeah, it's crazy to think about. Yeah. I know now kids go to the G League because they still have that rule, right? You have to be 19 to play in the NBA.
Now they have the, what is that, name, image, likeness or whatever.
So kids want to go to college again?
I mean, possibly. Could you imagine? I was thinking about that earlier too. So now you're in college, but the jock in college, especially the one that everybody whispers and kind of knows is going to make it to the league. You're a superstar. It's undeniable. There's probably a kid or two in college that's talented to a degree in something else that gets somewhat superstar status. But now in school, whatever grade you are, there's somebody that has 1.7 million subscribers on YouTube and maybe 600 and something odd thousand followers on Instagram, and they're just in 4th grade.
Dude, I know it is depressing. There's some dude, I don't know how I came across his videos even. His name's Snarp, and he just trolls fans when he's on the road. He like wears a road fans jersey for like rival games, and then just tries to get under people's skin.
Oh.
And then pretends like he's like, dude, when people get physical with me, it's like you're antagonizing humans who are drunk in a contentious situation. What do you mean, dude?
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's like and he's like, I don't know, he's like maybe 22 or something, but he's just a little shit. And then he like complains when people get in his face or get all physical with him. And then at the end, he's like, I just want to thank God for these opportunities. I'm like, what? You think God, this is what amazing. God's plan is for you?
Those are amazing.
Yeah. Have you heard of this kid or no?
I have not.
Yeah, he sucks.
I have not. Well, tell you what, this has been tremendous. I could talk to you for hours, and I just remember that I'm about to be late for my show.
Oh, shit, what time is it at?
It's at 8:30. I was supposed to be there at 8. I don't know why my brain, I think I just got caught up in a conversation, and my brain switched the times of the arrival. But enough about me. Please, do me a favor. Tell the fine viewing folks at home anything you got to promote, any shows you got coming up, how they can find you.
Oh, when does it drop, actually?
So, I mean, they're coming out about twice a week. So this one, I actually have a lot in the chamber, so this one's probably going to be out in about maybe 2 weeks.
Okay. In 2 weeks, I mean, I'll be on the road, so just check at Joe Fernandez Comedy on Instagram to find out where I'll be for shows coming up. Listen to 30 Characters podcast.
Hell yeah, 30 Characters,
and
shout out.
I think that should do it. Instagram is where I post the most stuff. So just and check out I got 2 specials, one on Tubi called Ugly and one on YouTube called Demented. So check those out.
Yeah. All right, nice. I'm Mike Knight, comedy on all the things. It's a Real Rap podcast, man. Check out this dope ass individual, Joey Fernandez. Offer to play him in a game of poker. Just take his money. If you need new shoes, be like, hey Joey, let's go play let's go play Hold'em. He's actually pretty decent.
Yeah. I do all right. I at least can read. I can read Paul Miller pretty well.
Hell yeah, he gets me because there's no change. He's just always Paul Miller.
Yeah. One of the most authentic people you'll ever meet.
Yes, he's right up there.
Yeah.
Man. But this is dope. Been Mike Knight. This has been Real Rap Podcast. Love y'all. Peace.
Cool. Dude, thanks, man. That was fun.
Oh yeah, it was, man. I appreciate you.
That was crazy.